Our top focus on WION's Climate Tracker, of course, is on Hawaii. It's known to be the land of tropical beaches. However, on Thursday, the Hawaiian town of Lahaina resembled Baghdad during the war. The town from above looks incinerated. Forget beaches and peachy drinks, the only sight to see is of charred palm trees, homes reduced to ashes and deserted streets. Now, the devastation is owing to what experts are now calling one of the deadliest wildfires to strike Hawaii. Take a look at these visuals. Complete devastation which has been caused. Experts say climate change is increasing the likelihood of these extreme weather events. At least 53 people have been killed and a historic tourist town has been devastated. Here's a closer look at the factors that led to the situation in Hawaii. Beginning right with hot and dry weather conditions in the region. Wildfires are relatively common on the Hawaiian Islands. About 0.5% of Hawaii's land area burns each year. However, over a period of few years, researchers have noted a steep increase in the wildfires. The study cites the abandonment of agricultural lands and the introduction of non-native fire-prone grasses, which are key factors that have made Hawaii more susceptible to wildfires. Then there are the gusty, strong winds, which have caused the fires to spread out of control, and that also this quickly. The breezes sweeping over the islands were not only extremely gusty but also were unusually dry, and as the arid winds swept over the West Maui mountains, they forced air to accelerate down the west side of the mountains. These are known as downslope winds, which then compress and heat the air as they descend and dry it out even more. Such winds increase the risk of wildfires, and gusts can quickly fan flames. Even though the precise cause of the fires has not yet been determined, the U.S. National Weather Service had issued warnings for the Hawaiian Islands for high winds and dry weather conditions due to wildfires.
We are strongly discouraging non-essential travel to Maui, but the airports are still operating efficiently. Right now, last night we had 2,000 people staying over at the airport who got stuck either on the, because they couldn't get on the red eye or they were waiting for other flights to come in. We made sure that we processed them through this morning.
Moving on to the obvious, climate change. Climate change not only increases the fire risk by driving up temperatures, but also makes stronger hurricanes more likely. In turn, those storms fuel stronger wind events like the one behind the Maui fires. Experts explain a multitude of climate factors created a perfect storm for the devastating fires.
When you have higher temperatures, you have more evaporation of water. And also, you can think of it as plants being thirstier. So plants use more water when the air temperature is higher. So the water that is present tends to disappear more rapidly. Disappear from use by plants, disappear from use by humans. I mean, the water is still in the global water cycle, but in essence, it's less available to humans and less available to plants as temperatures increase.
Now, as for recent updates, the National Weather Service cancelled its red flag wildfires warning and high winds advisory for all of Hawaii. County officials informed that widespread damage in Lahaina was 80% contained as of Thursday. A second fire on Maui was 70% contained, and a third fire is pending further assessment. Now, for more on this, Clay Trawanich, who is a fire scientist with the University of Hawaii of Manoa, joins us live from Hawaii. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Trey, now, is it just downslope winds, or are there other factors that could have led to these devastating wildfires?
Well, it was definitely an alignment of hazardous fire weather. So we had strong winds, as you said, as well as incredibly dry conditions for us here in the islands. And that was due to that storm that was passing to the south, as well as this high pressure system to the north. And these storms that we're noticing, and when they miss us, they actually draw in moisture towards them, which created drier than average conditions. The part that I think is really important to spell out here, though, is the change in the landscape around our communities that you had mentioned earlier, due to the decline in agriculture. It was a really strong contributing factor. And as the vegetation has reverted from active agriculture to these tropical grasslands dominated by non-native grasses, they are much more sensitive to these short-term changes in weather, and much more difficult to manage when they do ignite. And so they create incredibly dangerous conditions for our firefighters to work in. And the other dimension that's happening here is, as you mentioned, there's multiple incidents. So our firefighters are spread thin across the island. And the resources that were once there in the past that, on these plantations, so I'm talking about roads, water infrastructure, and the people with the knowledge of these landscapes and resources are no longer there to support fire suppression efforts. So kind of all of the burden we're seeing is falling on the shoulders of our firefighters during these incidents.
Now, Clay, even when you see the Maui map on Google Maps, the entire region is outlined with red. I was just going over it. There is Upcountry Maui wildfire, South Maui wildfire. Of course, a lot of these names are also there. It's entirely dotted in red. How bad is the situation? You're there, you can obviously give a better assessment than anyone else. What's the damage expected, and how bad is the situation right now?
This is by far the worst fire we've seen in terms of a direct human toll. It's worse than anything we can imagine. We've been talking about the potential for an incident like this for years, just given the amount of fuels and the need for better investment in fuels reduction. So there's not much the way that we're doing at a scale that would make a difference. And again, it's hard to say this is unprecedented in the sense of large fires and multiple fires happening at once. We've seen this time and time again, but typically our firefighters are very good at getting between the vegetation and the structures. They're really good at saving homes and keeping the fires out of our communities. But we've seen today just one of these really explosive moving fires that jumped that line, actually both Upcountry Maui and Lahaina, and really got away from the firefighters. And once you cross that line from the vegetation into an urban setting where now the fire is moving house to house, it's incredibly difficult to suppress. And again, this is the worst possible outcome we could imagine.
The death toll, of course, is extremely alarming and extremely unfortunate all the same. Also wanted to ask you, typically, how long do such wildfires last, and what should one brace for? And given the way it has moved right now, whether it's Maui or any other island here in the Hawaiian region, is this region going to brace for this for every year? Or is this a one-off case, and next year, hopefully, this does not repeat?
Well, to the first question there, usually our incidents they burn out pretty quickly. And again, that's due to the fuel type, right? So we're dealing with these grasslands, these tropical grasses, and so they burn very fast. And typically we don't see fires last more than several days at the most. And so it seems that with the winds calming down, that the firefighters have been able to get a handle on this one. Obviously, the devastation in the town is absolutely unprecedented, and there's going to be a lot to deal with, helping communities rebuild and recover from this. As to the other question, we have again seen fires like this and seen what there is to do to solve this problem in the sense of managing these fuels. And so we've lots of examples out there of dealing with fire risk and reducing the amount of these grassy fuels on the landscape. Strategies like targeted grazing, networks of fuel breaks, reestablishing agriculture, even reforestation. These are all solutions that are being done at small scale. And as far as preventing the next disaster, these are steps we can take if they're scaled up and done around these communities. But this has to happen long before the next fire occurs. And so again, the bright side, if there is any, of an incident like this is that identifying the problem as a fuels problem means that that's within our capacity to do something about.
All right. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much for your time. That was Clay Trawernick, who is a fire scientist and who joined us right from Hawaii.
Yep. Take care.